Hi, I'm Wal Galbraith. I'm a part of the Ray White South Coast Group, and this is your South Coast Snapshot for Week 9, 2023. Now, the snapshot is designed to give you a bite-sized breakdown of the real estate market overall, including local, regional and city-based information across Australia. All information is sourced from the AFR, leading economists on Twitter, and the Sydney Morning Herald. All information is relevant to buyers, property owners or both. Financial markets have ramped up expectations the Reserve Bank will raise its cash rate at least 3 more times to above 4% this year to combat inflation, as some of the country's biggest retailers warn that consumer spending has started to slow. Early signs of a spending pullback emerged on Monday as consumer electronic chain JB Hi-Fi reported flat sales growth since the start of the year and warned the economy was entering an uncertain period, following 9 successive interest rate rises. Customers are being a bit more cautious than they were this time last year, said JB Hi-Fi Chief Executive Terry Smart, as the retailer disclosed an 8.6% rise in sales to $5.3 billion for the 6 months to December 31. Asking rents in capital cities jumped a record-breaking 2.4% in the past 30 days, triggering fears that the increase will further stoke inflation, prompting higher than expected interest rates. Louis Christopher, SQM Research Managing Director, said the sharp rise in rents would feed into the inflation measures used by the ABS, which the Reserve Bank relies on to make decisions about interest rates. Rents represent just under 6% of the CPI basket, but it's the single largest component of the CPI basket, so it is a fairly significant contributor, he stated. Weekly rents in the biggest capital cities soared to record levels, with Sydney rents rising 2.5% over the month to $744. Melbourne's rents climbed 2.7% to $549, with Brisbane gaining 1.4% to $594, and in Perth, prices firmed 1.3% to $586. Analysts say the prudential regulator is likely to reduce so-called serviceability buffers to allow borrowers to get bigger loans as it prepares to release what will be a closely watched review of its housing market lending rules within the next fortnight. Changing the interest rates used in loan serviceability tests could increase borrowing capacity in a high interest rate environment. The Australian Prudential Regulation Authority has already declared it was open to adjust settings to avoid strangling credit growth in the housing market. But before any regulatory changes, banks are also experimenting with extended loan terms that make it easier for customers to repay loans as interest rates continue to rise, as well as to borrow more upfront. Westpac CEO Peter King has warned nearly half of its mortgage customers will have to make higher repayments than those the bank assumed when it assessed their capacity to repay low-rate loans, whilst reassuring customers who get into trouble that they will be nursed through the tough times. As the big banks battle it out for a looming wave of refinancing, the second biggest mortgage lender stated almost half of its $471 billion of housing loans had been written using interest rate buffers that are set to be exceeded as the cash rate races towards 4%. Like Commonwealth Bank CEO Matt Commons stated earlier this week, Mr. King provided reassurance that those who get into trouble will be helped through the tough times, and the bank would use its financial strength to restructure debts, including putting some stressed borrowers onto interest-only terms to reduce their monthly repayments. And moving to New Zealand, as mortgage rates climb, putting homeowners under stress, arrears are rising by as much as 50% in some regions. Data from the credit agency Centrix shows a 24% increase in arrears nationwide in 2022. In Auckland, which accounts for a third of the country's population, arrears have risen by 41% over the same period. In Hamilton, the rise was 33%, whilst in Wellington and Christchurch, the increase was 15% and 8% respectively. The absolute numbers for arrears are still relatively low despite the stress some homeowners are feeling with mortgage interest rates trembling. Also in New Zealand, letting agents are reporting a huge demand for rentals, including scarce furnished properties as people leave flood-damaged homes. Looking for potential refinancing options for yourself? Feel free to reach out so we can get you in touch with our in-house loan market mortgage broking specialists. And if you're looking to make the best use of the current market, whether you're expanding your current property portfolio or looking to sell your current property, get in touch today. We'd love to help. I'm Wal Galbraith with the Ray White South Coast Group, and that was your South Coast Snapshot for week 9, 2023. I'll see you next week. Be well. Bye.